over to the professional.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
Body.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the bribe with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
GM, welcome to Coffee with Captain. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you're having a great week. We've got a fun show lined up today, including our popular Coffee with Captain. We'll be pulling that here later in the show. If you'd like to participate, let us know in the chat down below. Give the space a like, a repost, a bookmark. We're live on X Audio, X Spaces, as well as YouTube and Abstract. Got all those pinned, well, almost all of them. I got the Audio Spaces, the X Video, and looks like YouTube, but I'm not seeing the Abstract. I'm near certain I dropped it in the chat, but you know what? There was an X update. So for those of you that might be wanting to join the conversation today or have any questions and would like to do so on stage, drop your, make sure you're on the most recent version of X. It was a recent update, and as we know, that can create some issues from time to time. In addition to doing Coffee with Captain, I think we might be doing some pack rips, and let me see here. I just had someone DM me want to come through. Let me see. Yeah, we may be doing some pack rips. Congratulations to everyone who got ahead of that yesterday, including Maria. I do like the Klanos card. GG on the Milo pool. I was planning to rip several packs. It was a busy day yesterday. We had a Doma on air we hosted in the afternoon, and just by the time I got to ripping packs, the mythicals were already crafted. So I haven't checked this morning. If anyone has an update on how many of those packs have went, would love to know. Drop me drop that data in the chat. I saw someone shared yesterday. It was like 5,000 had already been purchased. I'm just curious. And yeah, I saw the we've got a lot to get into here in the first hour of the show. I'm debating, kind of want to talk World Cup, but I don't know if we have time this morning, so I'm not going to talk about the I don't know how you pronounce his name, Kwanzaa got his suspension, his red card suspension did not only not get deferred, they added a game to it. So for those of you on the corrupt side of, or those of you that think FIFA is corrupt, they're not doing anything to help my to help. The Englander got 2 games suspension following his red card, and I don't know, like I guess yes, a card. Does it deserve 2-game suspension? I don't think so, but I'm not the judge and jury. So for those of you that think I was just bullish US, I think it's a tragedy that a player gets a penalty in game. Did his cleat go high? Yes, it did. It also bounced off the ball, and like no one got hurt. I don't know. I think a game suspension is pretty extreme. 2 games at this point in the tournament is, yeah, I don't get it. I'm going to crowdsource titles for the space. We'll probably change that around 9:00. We do have a special guest joining us today, our friends over at Concordium, joining us for a sponsor interview. And we'll be doing, after the interview, we'll be doing Coffee with Captain and Pack Grip. So don't go anywhere. It is maybe a little on the techie side, but important stuff that very few people are talking about. And I don't know, people are saying, by people, I mean Ansem, saying that the bottom's in, the bull market's beginning. Obviously, he's got a couple 100 million reasons in a bag to to say that. Yeah, Dort, apparently Trump made the call to get the England guy an extra game. That's what happened this time. Trump was single-handedly responsible for getting Balogun suspension deferred, and he is pulling for Norway. Although he did say Harry Kane's a good guy and he's golfed with him. So I don't know. Maybe Trump is not to blame for the extra suspension being handed out to the Kwanzaa. Because we have a guest, I've got 51 minutes and counting, debating whether I really having an internal struggle right now, because there's a lot we can talk about, and I could not even mention anything that might be perceived as a little spicy, or we could spend the next 51 minutes getting into it and eat a little jalapeno. I will say this: NFTs are making noise. My Claude agent, who often struggles to find storylines related to NFTs, I'm just going to read it. I'm quoting my. I need to name my Claude bot too, by the way. If anyone has any suggestions, what I should call my Claude agent. It's really just co-work. It's not anything fancy, but it's scheduled Claude co-work. So I feel like it's fancy. That's how far behind I am from you AI wizards. Is I feel fancy just because I have a scheduled task that it does for me every day and scans the interwebs and does a pretty good job. Not perfect, but it does a pretty good job as far as summaries go. In fact, if we had co-work and AI is what it is today, if it was that in 2021, 22, Coffee with Captain may not exist, because this whole show was inspired by, was tired of scanning Discords for hours every morning when I woke up to figure out what degen activity I missed the night before. And I asked a few friends, hey, can we just get on a space and talk through this and tell me what I missed and what mints I need to be aping into today, what happened last night? Because it was, I mean, no joke, like dozens. I'm probably still in like 200 Discords from the mania, but there would just be things popping off all night, degen activity. You need to pay attention to this today. You need to go claim this today. And it was just too much to keep up with in Discords. And so we started this space to talk through it, and 1,201 episodes later, here we are. But had AI co-work existed back in 21, that instead of personally scanning Discords, I would have had a bot doing it. And I don't know, maybe Coffee with Captain never comes to be. But here is the the NFT corner, it's calling it now. Not prompted by me. It's just there's enough happening in NFTs that there's a dedicated bullet point. It's supposed to just look for crypto topics. If there's anything NFT, relevant, sure. But it now has created its own section called NFT Corner. Again, not prompted by me. The alien bot has a mind of its own. But it's called NFT Corner. Penguins, doodles, and apes all made noise overnight. The NFT conversation had a pulse in the last 24 hours. Again, I'm quoting. This is not me making this up. I'm going to share just so you realize, it's a Google Doc that it's populated into. So maybe you don't take my word for it and think I am making it up. But here's the brief. NFT Corner. The NFT conversation actually had a pulse in the last 24 hours. All three of those were trending on X this morning. Pudgy Penguins launched a wall honoring its top community members. I love it. Congratulations, Teacher Katie. And I think Dow Jones has been in that wall previously, and I'm sure there's other friends. But if you're on that Pudgy wall, drop a screenshot in the chat. Would love to give you some extra flowers. Which lit up the timeline with 3,525 posts. The biggest NFT topic, ApeFest 2026, dropped a teaser for the next event, April 17th in Charleston, as we know that to be at Beeple Studio, pulling 1,793 posts. And Doodles teased an AI-powered custom toy factory, hinting at on-demand physical digital collectibles, 191 posts. Context checked for balance. The broader NFT market is still in a deep multi-year slump, so this is community and culture energy, not a volume breakout. And then it gives me some talking points. I definitely did not write this myself. What overnight tease has the most juice? Pudgy's community wall, ApeFest Charleston, or Doodle's AI toy factory? And then real talk is reward your top community members the new playbook for blue chip NFTs to survive the bear market, or a distraction from flat floor prices. Doodle's going AI and physical toys. Is Phygital finally the bridge that brings norming NFTs or another hype cycle? Is there even going to be a bridge? I don't know. All we know so far is it is a vinyl toy that is customized. I think, and I said this yesterday, I really, truly enjoyed the conversation with the Klanos team. I linked that up top. It's all the way to the right. You can find the recorded space, or if you just go to a good time. It's a Friday. We don't shill our stuff nearly enough, other than asking for the likes, the reposts, and bookmarks. What I do a poor job of is shilling our newsletter. You can scan that QR code on screen and head over to coffeewithcaptain.com, drop your email address, and join the newsletter. You also, the ask today, for those of you that have done us a solid and subscribed to YouTube, we're close. A few of you have taken action this week. We went from in the 380s to we're very close to 400. If everyone tuning in right now that hasn't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, and everyone that has already subscribed, if you have an alt YouTube account, head over to Coffee with Captain. It's pinned up top, Coffee with Captain on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We could break 400 today. Can't do it myself, but with the help of all of you, we could hit 400 today, an inch closer to 500 subs, which now we found out, after we got in towards 500, we found out we need to actually get to 1,000 to do what we want to do. So we're 39% of the way there. Oof. It's never in my life has 1,000 seemed like such a big number as it has when it's the YouTube grind. That said, if you've already done all that, thank you. Head over to iTunes. Find Coffee with Captain on iTunes. You also can find yesterday's interview on iTunes. Wait, it's not even called iTunes anymore. Apple Podcast. It's probably why I'm, do such a bad job of showing our own stuff. I don't even know what it's called. Apple Podcasts. Hit that 5-star rating and review while you're over there. That does us a great help as well. And thank you to all the early GMers. You do help every day, whether you know it or not. Help warm up the chat. Help warm up the algo. We got Machiavelli, Absolute Zero, Thomas, Mike Campbell, Jambert. It was fun ripping some Klano. Glad to see you got in there. And he says, TJF, have a fun week. It's been a fun week. Has been fun here this week. Miss chat and the live feed. I jump in when I can. Always great times. Understand life can get in the way. Appreciate you, whether you watch the recordings or check in live. All of them count and all are appreciated. Corona, Helpful Soul, Zane over there, keeping the YouTube streets warm, and Jambert getting pumped up. Over in the abstract streets, Jambert's there as well, along with Teacher Katie of Pudgy Penguin fame, and many of you doing the job here, getting X warmed up. Greatly appreciated. Did you blow smoke in your debate? I did not. not sure if that's an old school Nintendo joke or if I'm missing something else. ABP, that's a fire-looking coda. I'm not sure I've seen that one. I know the image was made with AI, but I think that's actually a real coda. I dig it. It's a fearsome looking. I'm actually going to show this off. I have never, as far as I can remember, have not seen one that looks quite like this. And man, that would be. I don't think you want to run into this guy in an alley on the other side. Yeah, Sir Joey, it's kind of where I was going as well. I should have mentioned Chimpers in the conversation. My bad. But and yeah, the alpha is, you actually can speed up X audio. Not everyone realizes that. You can do X video as well, but the Apple Podcast at 1.5 or 1.8X is the alpha. I am a consumer of sped up podcast in audio. But I will get to Joey here in a second. Let me finish this thought, and then depending on where Joey goes, we may come back to this and get a little spicy. We may not. We may just have a fun Friday morning, a little Friday free for all, and take the high road into our guest today. I'll start with Sir Joey's, and then I'll come backwards. Sir Joey says, it makes me laugh hard that nobody ever mentioned Chimpers in these convo. All are NFT projects, each in their own lane. Short-term announcements, ideas, plans mean zilch. What matters most is real-world distribution and revenue. And on that note, Pudgy is ahead, not 3 years like Loki says, but the clear leader. I don't know if they're the clear leader. I mean, I guess if they are, I guess, if the revenue numbers are real. And it's coming from, like, I don't know. I would love to know. I'm not saying they're lying. I don't know where. I've heard $100 million in revenue this year. I don't know where it's coming from. I would love to know more about it, but I don't know where it's coming from. I can't see what their direct to consumer sales are on their website. I have no idea. I don't think they're in shelves in Walmart at this point. So there wasn't a third reorder, to my understanding. Again, I'm welcome to be wrong. I'm rooting for them too, by the way. Please don't take this out of context. I want Pudgy to win. I want Claynos to win. I want VFriends to win. I want Rec to win. This started with Jay Bond said in 20, talking about Doodles, Pudgy, Penguin, and Azuki. All three have grown beyond the NFT model. Doodles is now an AI generator and a toy factory. Pudgy Penguins is an IP company. Azuki is a TCG player. Like, please don't take this as I'm attacking any of them. I'm rooting for all three of these brands. I want them all to win. But I'm also going to keep it real. And Azuki just launched a TCG. I don't think it's accurate to call them a player in that space yet. Like, they aspire to become a TCG player. But if we're going to shout out a Web3 brand that's a TCG player, I'm near certain that Vibes is winning that race right now. Like, I'm near certain that Orange Cap Games is more of a TCG player than is Azuki. At this point, things could change very rapidly. But as far as I know, Azuki doesn't have any national retail distribution. I don't think Azuki TCG is being sold in Target and Barnes & Noble. And did they sell a ton to their existing core base? Probably. But that's not a sustainable business model, I don't think. The whole post came with expanding beyond the NFT model. And so they're selling to their NFT base. I don't know that expands beyond the NFT model. Pudgy Penguins is an IP company. What does that even mean? Like, I have ideas, but I don't know that, okay. And Doodles is an AI generator and a toy factory. Again, not taking shots. Doodles did launch Toy Factory yesterday. I don't know, is anyone outside of their existing holders buying those toys? We'll see. If they end up launching this thing and it's $20, they're able to get it down to like a $20 price point at scale. Huge win. I'll be amazed. We don't have a price point yet, so we don't know. So I'm just speculating. But based on prior stuff and what they've sold their vinyls and toys for, I don't think it's going to be, my guess is it's not going to be a $20 price point. It's probably going to be closer to 200 or more. And that's just not, I don't see people very few outside of, the core crypto audience buying a $200 toy, even if it's customizable, because, and I'm not saying it's not anyone can do that, but I'm near certain, like my 12-year-old nephew could make one of these toys on his 3D printer. And I know there's a lot of others in this space that have done that very thing. Onesie, twosie, customized ones, like one or two at a time. It's just, so they have not scaled it. If Doodles can scale this and you can transfer any image into a custom toy for $20, give or take, that's really cool. That's innovative. Because they're able to figure out something at scale where it's price competitive. Burnt Toast quote tweeted it and said, in April, we launched Doodles AI, a model trained with our visual language, giving people a way to create directly in Doodle style. The Toy Factory extends the same idea into the physical world, photos, drawings, and written concepts transferred into custom art toys you can hold. High quality, full color figures made by Doodles, designed by you. It's a cool concept, but it's not innovative, really. It's not new. Again, not anyone, but if someone has access to an LLM, they've got access to Claude. If they're paying $20 a month for Claude or ChatGPT and they have a 3D printer, a decent one, they can make custom toys. You could go today, you could go get your Doodle, your Ape, your Squiggle. You could go probably have someone make it a very cool vinyl custom toy on Etsy for $100. It may not have like cool retail packaging. It may not be doodleified, but it's just like, it's not that hard to do this stuff today. I don't, and I'm not knocking it from, it's cool for the community. My focus or my take is specifically as it relates to real world revenue in a sustainable consumer product, something that the masses that have never held an NFT are going to pay for. Because that was the initial post. It's okay if you just build to service your Web3 audience. And my pushback wasn't a shot at Zuki or Pudgy or Doodles. Rather, I don't know, like it's not the first time that those three get put on a pedestal as it relates to growing outside the NFT model or growing their distribution outside of a Web3 audience. What I don't hear often is people giving the same kudos or flowers to Rekt, to VeeFriends, to Claynos, Chimpers. Now, I don't know if Claynos and Chimpers have sold their product to a non-Web3 audience yet, but I see a path towards them doing that. They're doing a great job of growing their socials. And they don't have that retail distribution like Pudgy has landed, like Orange Cap Games has landed with Vibes. That's a big deal. But if you look at Amazon, I'm pretty sure there's been more Rekt energy drink sold in the last month than there has Pudgy Penguin toys. Maybe not across all their SKUs, but, and again, I have no visibility into direct-to-consumer business, what anyone sells on their own website, what anyone sells in national retail. I have no idea. I'd just be guessing. But you can look at Amazon, like you may not find the exact precise number, but go do the search for yourself. Like the top Pudgy Penguin toy, search for Pudgy Penguin, and the top toy is not even a Pudgy Penguin. It's something that looks like a Pudgy Penguin. I don't know if it came before Pudgy or it came after. It's like a stuffed penguin, but it's not a Pudgy Penguin. So, and I'm not trying to burst some bubble. I'm not trying to be Debbie Down on a Friday. But the reality is, I don't know if any of these brands have done what Jay Bond's post alluded to. I don't know if any of these brands have really escaped Web3 and built. I'm not just saying, like, I don't have any. I have a Mythic. That's my exposure to Moonbirds, and I don't have any. I'm not an investor in Orange Cap Games. I have no exposure, but they're probably the closest. Especially after hearing Spencer and understanding like the depths in the connections he has in the TGC space. Maybe Zagabond and Azuki have the same, but it's just my point is it's wild that we're going to talk about Azuki TCG like that just launched and has no retail distribution that I know of, and not mention Vibes in the same sentence, which is in Target and Barnes and Noble. We're not going to talk about VeeFriends, which sells out a card drop on Tops. You know, they have so much they have to go to a raffle, and I've tried multiple times, can't even get on the raffle. Like, there's real demand beyond the crypto natives. No one ever talks about VeeFriends. I shouldn't say no one. People do, but and please, I'm not tagging J Bond either. Like, for all I know, he was doing it as engagement bait. He's good at that. He's good at the app. But I don't think I've seen J Bond talk about VeeFriends or any of the quote unquote KOLs for that matter. And not only are VeeFriends and Vibes doing it, but how they're doing it is they're driving alignment. Like, they're rewarding their Web3 holders. They're rewarding their NFT holders. They're incorporating their NFT holders into the art and, you know, as artists. This space is super niche. I agree with Jambert. He says, TBH, I still think the space is super niche, even how big Pudgy Penguins are. It's funny seeing Pingu in the memes, but so many don't even know what it is. Their gifts are everywhere. They've billions of gifts, but that doesn't generate any, I don't think it generates any revenue for them. Again, not trying to be Debbie Downer. If you've been here for even a portion of the 1,200 shows, I side as I'm a perma optimist. Maybe not a perma bull, but I try to find the good in the world and look at things on the bright side, not like poke holes or be a critic. So I'm not critiquing them. I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback. I know what they're doing is challenging. I just don't know if any have escaped our tiny corner of the internet yet. They're working towards it, but I haven't seen anything that's convinced me that, oh, they've made it. They've escaped the crypto corner and they have a sustainable business outside of their core holders. Like, if of all those brands mentioned, if their core holders, their NFT community floored their NFTs, the NFT goes to zero and they just left. Do those brands have a business? I don't know. It is awesome to see packs of Vibes and VeeFriends and Wrecked in real life. It is cool. It's awesome. I'm applauding it. I just don't know if, you know, like, yeah, talk about Pudgy Penguins were a third-party product like McDonald's Happy Meal toys. Someone acquired the rights to make those and had no connection to NFTs. Like, if Pudgies were in a McDonald's as a Happy Meal, is that a big win? Yeah, but it's probably a cost. It's probably not generating revenue for them. And maybe they're one SKU away from. I mean, there's a world where Pudgy Penguin has the must-have toy for the holiday season this year. It's possible. I just don't think it's happened yet. So that was my pushback, is if we're going to talk about those three brands and put them on a pedestal, we should talk about some others who are doing, from what we can see, because we don't know revenue numbers, just as good, maybe better in terms of distribution and in growing beyond NFTs. You know, it's like Bearish, one tier under Pudgy with multi-billion views, and they're under $50. I think, like, I'm not knocking it. I think it's a good part of a strategy to get your IP out there with gifts. It doesn't move the needle. I use gifts every day, probably. I don't think I've ever made a purchase based off a GIF. Gifts don't convert, is my point, or my take. Open to being very wrong there. And over a decade-long timeline, does it help? Once they have 10x the amount of Giphy views they have today, does that matter? Probably does. But I don't think it's doing anything to drive, like, again, if the core community goes away today, does their next product drop even sell out? Maybe. I'd have a hard time seeing it for any of them, all of them. You know, Bored Ape Yacht Club continues to sell out their merch drops like almost instantly, but smaller supplies. It's limited runs, and it's overwhelming majority, if not all. I mean, some of them are gated for the community, and again, that's fine. to build a business that is Web3. But if we're talking, like they've expanded beyond the NFT natives, I haven't seen it yet. Like I hope I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. I think we are extremely early, and I'm rooting for. Like, I want Klaynos to escape. I want Klaynos to be that, their animated series. I turn on Netflix and I see a Klaynos series on there. I want to, see the number one selling toy on Amazon is a Pudgy Penguin. I want Bored Ape Yacht Club's anime to be the next big thing in anime. It's just not yet. And of everything I've seen and based on the information I do have, not blowing smoke, I think it's in range that Vibes becomes a real player in the TCG space. Now I haven't touched and felt the Azuki TCG. The art's good. It's a big effort. Like, it's a big task. It's very challenging to do what they're all trying to do, and not saying they can't. I don't think anyone's done it yet. And like I'm trying to check my words here, because I do man, sometimes comments just throw me for a curveball. That one got me today. Doodle adult toys equals about 100 million. Like, we're not going to have that conversation either. Mike, I think I agree. I think VeeFriends is probably the leader here. Based on the information we have today, we can work backwards and try to connect some dots. Topps Chrome is a big deal. And also VeeFriends has done a lot into retail, expanded a lot, made a lot of attempts outside of the NFT space, and it's not worked. From shoes to, I think they had some toys in Macy's maybe. And like, I don't think that stuff hit. It also speaks to how hard it is to do this. It's not that hard to launch a product. It's really hard to sell millions of a product, and then have people come back and buy it again, or tell their friends and family about it. It's really, really, really hard. And I don't know if we have a good, great example yet. Not bursting anyone's bubble, just keeping it real. I don't think we've seen it yet. Maybe it's happened, but like, I also don't want to, like, people are excited about the Doodles toys. Awesome. Like, it's cool. You want to go get a custom of your NFT or custom of your image. Awesome. I'm not trying to bust anyone's bubble. We don't have all the information yet. So I should hold my comments and thoughts, and I will hold most of them, because if it comes out at the $20 price point, it's like, wow, they've changed the game. And I think custom 3D printed toys at a palatable price point could be a real winner. But I don't know as if luxury, high-end, expensive toys is a path to the masses. Collectibles maybe, but this isn't. I don't. Custom toys aren't. They don't really fall into the collectible realm, I don't think. And just the whole, like, it's not just crypto or Web3. Like, look at LVMH. Has probably the greatest portfolio of luxury brands in the world, and their stock's down 25% year to date. It's like been down only for a while. People just aren't. They're moving away from that sort of stuff. I don't know as if a couple $100 toy or a premium custom toy is going to reach many people outside of our native space. And I don't know how many people here are going to, like, I'm not going to drop $200. Like, I a lot of NFTs that I like, I'm just not, I've got enough vinyls, enough toys. And I get the last thing, and we'll get to Joey here. I appreciate your patience. Is you talked about, like, the tech, the Web3 portion, like I don't like most of them aren't doing that. Most of them, there is no bridge or connection. Not, and I really am not, I don't want, this isn't, I'm not trying to take shots. It's awesome accomplishment. Like Doodle's getting on McDonald's cup. Did that do anything other than onboard maybe like Warner and a couple other people? It probably cost Doodle a lot of money, but it didn't. It's not. There was no. It lacked the tie-in back to not even the NFTs, but just blockchain technology. So I got excited about how Klanos is doing their thing. They're very much so leaning into the tech side of it. Rekt, while it may be simple, this was a winner for me. The fact that I could buy something on Amazon, got a little card in it. I scanned the card and I instantly have $18 of Rekt coin in my base app. Like, awesome. Why isn't everyone doing that sort of stuff? Like, that's a real bridge into crypto and Web3. Now, I don't see the data. Does every one of those non NFT natives, did they immediately dump their Rekt coin when they get it? Maybe, probably. I don't know. But at least there's an attempt, there's an effort to tie it back to the technology to make it better than the competitor next to him on the shelf. I mentioned Klanos when I got the plushie. I scanned a code and I got a pack. I got a digital pack on chain. Awesome, well done. More of that, and maybe it's not going to resonate with the masses today. But if you can build a product that you're leveraging the technology and you're making it better, the same $20 product's better than the $20 product next to it on the shelf, it's a step in the right direction. It's still hard. It's still really hard to grow IP and make it something that the masses want, but make the effort to tie it back to the technology, tie it back to the tech, and or preferably but if not at least or give your drive that alignment with your Web3 native holders, with your NFT holders. Give them an opportunity like VeeFriends did. And if you hold an OG VeeFriends, you can buy one of these boxes. You don't have to go the Ralph route. You're guaranteed to get one. To me, it doesn't seem that hard. And I'm not mad. It's not that deep for me. But, I think one of the things that like Loki had said, and again, love Loki, hosts a great show. He said, take your time to do some research. Pudgy is 3 years ahead of anyone on the Web2 business. Come on. Well, Web3 token as well. See Pingu. I just respectfully disagree. Might they be ahead? Maybe. They're not 3 years ahead. And help me understand the Web3 tie-in. Like, yeah, they launched Pingu. What is that doing? I'm not talking like what is that doing for existing NFT holders? What is that doing for someone that's buying a Pudgy Penguin plushie, whether it's on Amazon or the Pudgy Penguin website? I don't know if there's any tie-in to Web3 there. They dropped a meme coin and they distributed it very wide, and it's performed well relative to the rest of the market. They also know how to work the market. They have tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in unlock still coming, and it's a smart, savvy team. They know how to maximize that. Not knocking it, hat tip. More teams, if they're going to launch a token, they should probably have a similar playbook. But I don't know, that doesn't translate to me that they're tying their retail products and their consumer products back to crypto. I think what Yuga's doing with Otherside, like whether you talk about Daniel Arsham or maybe some of these future drops, like there's a path, there's a vision. I'm not saying they're crushing it on that front yet, but there's a path at least of bringing those Amazon customers into their world, bringing those Amazon customers on chain, like a direct path to that. Already seeing it today. So it's like building a IP business is very hard. I'm not saying by leveraging the crypto natives or the blockchain tech, it's not a guarantee that they're going to be successful or more successful. But I think there's an edge there. Like if you have a vested community, if you like, that support matters, like that helps. Also, why I think it's a shame when people don't give Rekt and Klanos their flowers when they're talking about others that are doing similar things, when Rekt and Klanos are aligned. Both of them now have or are gifting equity into the businesses they're building. So when someone asks, like, how does this tie back to their Web3 base? Well, in the best case scenario, in a major financial windfall scenario, whether it's an acquisition or an exit, or maybe down the road they do accomplish what they're setting out to do, it's not you're not crossing your fingers and hoping that those initial supporters get can win with them. They've already they already made invested. They already have they here's the path. If Rekt or Klanos sells for $1 billion, all the NFT holders are probably pretty happy. If Yuga or Pudgy or Doodle sells for $1 billion, I don't know if it does anything for the NFT holders. And I know they've all those brands have done things already for their core audience, and maybe they don't have to anymore, but that's not where the original post, that came from. And I mentioned Azuki this morning, Von Frutton. I don't know if it's cool that they've shipped to TCG, but just shipping a product doesn't make them a player. It's cool that their core community and Adam Weitzman and crew bought thousands of packs. It's awesome. Doesn't make them a player. It doesn't mean like the game's going to be popular or collectible, or the next set's going to sell. Doesn't guarantee that the next Vibe set's going to either. But I think we've seen more at this point. Like if you're going to say anyone in any of the crypto native brands are a real player in the TCG space, I don't know how you could say that seriously and not mention Vibes. I'm not saying they've made it. They haven't. But they've done more than anyone else in the TCG space in this space, and it's not even particularly close. Maybe Azuki sold more packs to their existing audience and their NFT holders than Vibes has altogether. I doubt it, and I know that's also not easy. You still have to have something that people want to buy, whether they're a holder or not. But getting the retail distribution, it's a big deal. It's just like it was a big deal when Pudgy got into Walmart. And then can they get in? The big question with Vibes is, can they get Vibe Set 4 in there? Is the first one enough of a success and they see enough sell through that they do it again? I think they probably did it wise with the lower supply, because most stores you go into, they sell out. Sell through matters for retailers. They don't want dead stock. They don't want stuff aging. Volume and velocity is a big deal at retail. You probably aren't, even if you sell all 100% of the order, but it takes 6 months to sell through a few packs, like they're not ordering again. Conversely, if every time they get a shipment, it sells out within 24 hours, they're probably going to order again. I'm not to simplify it, but it's kind of how it works. These retailers are in business to move SKUs, to turn product. They don't need help finding product to stock on their shelves. There's a lot of people knocking on Target. There's a lengthy list, a lengthy line of people in Bentonville every day going through the psychological experiment that is Walmart and Sam's Club. And it's not easy to get that distribution. So I do want to give proper kudos to not just Vibes, but Pudgy and anyone who's got in retail, whether you used a third-party distributor or not. Like, it's still a big deal. But those retailers aren't celebrating when they bring in a new product. They're celebrating after the sales crush it and they can't keep them on the shelves. That's what gets them excited. Not adding the SKUs to the shelf, but not being able to keep them in stock. Joey, appreciate your patience, GM.
GM, buddy. So before I comment on some of, if not all of what you just said, I just want to let you know that our Panini Prism packs are up to $234.
Holy moly.
Yeah, they exploded. They were like 193 last night, and they exploded to 234 when I woke up this morning because there's only like 280 listings. So somebody went in, swept a boatload of packs, drove the floor up to 234. And the reason is because I was talking to somebody else last night who's also into these things, is that none of the big cards outside of that Haaland, like none of the big cards have been revealed. So people are basically sweeping all the packs up before, you know, the one of one Messi, the one of one Yamal, the one of one Ronaldo, right? Like all these other.
They're not going to find him. They're not going to find him.
And,
yeah, they're not going to find him, Joey, because all those grails are in one of or multiples of mine and your packs that we have.
That's what I was going to say. It's going to be like the IRL Tom Brady card that no one knows where it is because no one's actually opening their packs because they're afraid that if it's not in there, their packs go to zero. This person I was talking to last night showed me their collection. They bought 45 of the FOTLs. Dude, they have a one of one Vinny downtown. They have like a Maradona one of one. They pulled some sick cards out of their FOTLs. He's got a one of one Vinny Jr., a one of one Luka Vaskovic. He's got so the Maradona is to like 25. He pulled a bunch of color blasts. He pulled a Diego Maradona color blast. But Pulisic to 25, Yamal to 49. It's he's got the whatever country this is, Spain numbered to 10. So those FOTLs were where it was at. But crazy to think though that the FOTL price right now is around 330 or 340. So it's not even up as much as the ones we bought. Like the FOTL
that's what I was going to say. Is I think if I'm a buyer right now, I'm probably buying FOTL before I buy one of these packs at 231. Also, part of it's because we got in at $25, so that's part of it. But so almost.
Oh yeah, I would buy the FOTLs right now because I think there's a better chance to hit bigger.
Exactly.
To hit bigger cards for the value, right? It's a difference of like $100 a pack, but it's just that the FOTLs are only up like 2.5x, I think.
Yep.
Right. Where like ours are up, whatever.
Almost 10.
10x.
Yeah, almost 10. It's wild.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. But the one thing I did want to comment on about all these projects and where I have the issue is that the way they hype up what they're doing. Like, I think what Doodles, I have no issue with what Doodles is doing with the toys, right? Like if you want to become like a procurer of branding stuff, right? Like that's fine. Go do that. Like if that's your thing, like, put anything into our AI prompt and then we can print it into a vinyl toy for you. Okay, fine. Right? So if that's who you want to be that person. But don't put out content around we are doing the impossible. We are creating something that's going to revolutionize the world. We've worked so hard on this. It's going to be so amazing. Right? Like don't talk it up like that. When again, to your point, like I know people I've worked with that are 3D printers that could probably 3D print all of this stuff. And it's not cheap. And here's what people understand. 3D printing is very accessible, but the materials are not cheap.
Yep.
So like I have card holders that say Dad's Attic on them, right? These are they're 3 colors. They're black, brown, and like a beige. And all they say is Dad's Attic on them. Those things, and I bought 100 of them. So I bought them at scale. Those things cost me $15 to $18 because the materials themselves are not cheap. So I don't know how they're going to print like toys like for people. And, we say scale, but really how many people are going to order stuff at a price that, number one, makes it affordable. But number two, to me, these are not toys. Like, don't call it toys. Toys have opposable arms and opposable legs and their heads move and like you can do things with them. These are collectibles, right? These are things that will sit on a shelf on display. So I don't have a problem with what they're doing. More power to you. Go try to create revenue, build a business, like do things. It's just the way that it's presented. That's my biggest issue. Like if you look at Burnt Toast's tweet from before the announcement, I think it specifically says like we're doing the impossible. He literally uses the word impossible in the tweet. And what I just don't understand what's impossible with what you're doing.
Well, we don't know the price point yet. So what would justify the impossible is if it does come out at like a $20 price point. If it's $20-$25, that changes things. That changed my whole opinion on it, because I do know that yes, it's very possible to 3D print almost anything, especially a vinyl today. Like it's not easy, but it's simple. And like, not exaggerating, I'm not blowing smoke. Like my 12-year-old nephew's doing it. Like if you have access to any halfway decent AI and a 3D printer, you can do this. It's just to do it at scale and keep it at a competitive price point. That's the impossible today.
Yeah, I would agree. The price point, I don't even think scale is that hard, because there's 3D printers nowadays that can bang stuff out in a matter of minutes, right? If you're willing to spend, tens of thousands of dollars on like these commercial 3D printers, I don't even think doing it at scale is the hard part. The part is, if the impossible part is we can do this for $20, okay, fine. But like, again, I don't know. It's the same with, and I'm gonna talk about another one too. It's the same with oh, my brain shut off. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm going to keep it moving here. I saw Simple Farmer's going to hand up too. I did get your DM. Let's hold that till Monday if we can. We got a sponsor interview coming up here at 9. We got a coffee with Captain later today, and a lot. Still have a few other topics need to get into prior to 9 o'clock. So we got like 7 minutes and counting. But let's go Simple Farmer. Then we'll go back to Joey. Simple Farmer GM.
Yeah, GM. Just on this conversation, Captain. Thank you for getting back to me about Monday. I think, obviously, I think with Noodles, they're using a little bit of hyperbole because there's marketing in a super competitive, low liquidity space with not enough people to support as many products and projects as we have. So everyone's just competing for, limited resources there. But, I think if we zoom out as well and you look at like the Pudgy situation, what they're doing with retail, what does it mean for holders? Even if they do have 100 million in revenue, it doesn't mean that their IP is well proliferated. Yeah. But does that really extend to value propositions for the holders? In a limited way, I would say. So that's why I do really love what Claynos did. I think that model makes a lot more sense for those type of IP level NFTs with, sharing a percentage of their actual company and stuff like that. With Rec Drinks as well, what you talked about with Amazon, that's such a great distribution path. And I think that's why it's super exciting that that Robinhood chain has entered the space as well, because they literally own the funnel of users who are speculatory aligned users coming through and actually, potentially participate in crypto in the future, because I just think that's still our number one issue.
Yeah, no. And it's challenging, right? Not easy. Easier said than done. And I applaud all those swinging the bat and making the attempt. And that's the only way we get there. I just think it's a little premature to say we've done it or they've escaped the crypto bubble or to Joey's point, like, and sometimes like I understand also they need to hype things up. Like you need to get people excited. If it's just, oh, hey, if they came out and they announced that, hey, we're allowing all of you to do the same thing that Cap's nephew is doing in his basement with his 3D printer, that's going to land flat. No one's going to get excited over that. So I get you do need to hype it up, and we also don't have all the information yet. So like I said, I will hold the rest of my thoughts until we get more info, pricing, etc. Like what all does it entail? But Mike's adding too. Yeah, VeeFriends, we mentioned earlier. They've had their TCG games played at national and many local regional areas for a few years. Have the others? I think Vibes had. So I would say Vibes and VeeFriends, like they're becoming players in the TCG space. Azuki might, but they haven't yet. Like they just launched a product. That's part of it. Is like we got to let them cook, as the kids would say. Door does hear that the game is better. As far as like the gameplay itself, I've not played it, so I can't comment on that. But and IP, cool characters. I think while it may not resonate with us, I do think there is, like where Spencer said that within 10, it's not a fighting game. Vibes is more kid friendly, and I think that while it may not be our preference, I think there's possibly an opportunity in the market for that. Carve a niche within that market that's very popular, but yet, maybe not every parent wants their 4-year-old playing a game where they're killing other characters. I don't know. This is not me. I don't. My kids are well beyond that age, but even if they were, like, play Pokemon, I don't care. But some parents might like the friendlier game, the one that's geared more towards younger kids. I think I understand the strategy. I'm not here to judge whether it'll be successful or not, but I get the strategy behind it. Joe, I'm going to hand it back to you. But while I do that, I want to pull I'm going to rip some Aklano pack here as well. And I might add these to we'll see how the show goes. But if we can get some more love on warming up the space, we might add this to the Coffee with Captain Claw poll at the end of the show today. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I think for the Azuki TCG, I think it's very ambitious for Azuki to launch a TCG because their brand is a very crowded space, right? The anime, manga, like Japanese art space it's so crowded. The thing that is unique about VeeFriends and Vibes is there's nothing else like it. And I'm not saying that that's going to make it more or less successful. I just think you're fighting with this, you got to think like Azuki's TCG is now a direct competitor of One Piece. That's who they have to now.
I literally, as you said that, I literally typed in a response like, fair, is it better than Pokemon or One Piece though? And while we might as an adult, might prefer the Azuki IP over the Vibes IP, it may be really great IP and really good art. Now you're competing head to head. You're directly competing with a real established player that isn't just an established player in the TCG space. They have over 1,000 anime episodes. I mean, again, it's a big swing. Not saying they can't do it, but I think from a competitive standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, it's a much harder path, I would think. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and that's my point. And I'm not saying they shouldn't try. I think all of these companies should try, right? If you don't keep reinventing yourself and trying new things, like I said about GameStop the other day, who would have ever thought that GameStop would revamp all of their stores and then turn them into little card stores? Like they literally have like counter displays with singles, and right, it's become a card shop and a video game store, right? So you have to try to reinvent yourself and do new things and find ways to create revenue. So they should try. I'm just speaking from the TCG side. Like they've got a tough fight ahead of them trying to convince TCG players that they should, maybe they don't stop playing One Piece, right? But hey, if you're an anime TCG fan, spend some time playing our game instead of One Piece. Where with Vibes and with VeeFriends compete, right? So VeeFriends has different brands. Let's remember that, right? They have their Compete collection, which is their actual TCG. Then they have their collector's cards, which is what you're seeing from Topps Chrome and stuff like that. Those have nothing to do with their TCG. Those are purely collectible cards.
Mm-hmm.
But from the VeeFriends Compete collection, those characters, that IP is so unique and different that they don't really have a competitor, right? Like they're not going up against Pokemon because they're nothing like Pokemon.
Well, I think it's all. If they have a competitor, it's probably closer to Vibes than any of the other existing competitors. Would be my thought. Let's do this. We're gonna rip a pack. We're gonna rip a Aklano's pack real quick, and then we're gonna play in our special guest today. Excited to have on Boris, the CEO of Concordium, joining us here in just a minute or two. Some really important stuff. I just swapped the title, the AI Agent Trust Wars. This is real infra that's being built out. That's real world use case. Not that TCG is not, but excited to get into that discussion here momentarily. Before we do so, though, don't go anywhere, because again, we got I'm going to be giving away some Klano cards and that coffee with Captain. Someone's going to be pulling a Grail from Beezy here towards the end of the show. This is the Klano Packer. You haven't seen it yet. Got a crash dummy and 100 Hibu. You can see the Hibu updates as you open.
I like the music. It's fun.
Right? So crash dummy, fail proof, and came with, it was a common card, 100 Hibu. Not bad. We'll do some more here later, but yeah, I like the music. I like the good. Once again, the team.
Is there an option to turn that stuff off if you just kind of want to like run through it all?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I do believe so. I mean, you can at least turn the music off. I don't know if you can turn off the rest of the animations and stuff, but I would imagine so. That said, without further ado, let's bring our special guest up here on stage. Join me, warm welcoming for my friend Boris from Concordium. Boris, GM, enjoyed the last time we had a chance to chat. First time on live stream though. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
It's always good to put a face to the voice.
Yeah, right. I know probably maybe caught a little bit of that last conversation. Before we jump into this AI trust race and all things Concordium, by way of background introduction, CEO of Concordium. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your journey into crypto, Web3, and quite frankly, anything else you'd like to share about yourself before we jump into it this morning?
Yeah, sure. Hi, thanks for having me on. I mean, been in the space now, nearly 10 years. For that, founding partner and the chief commercial officer of Copper, which a couple of you might know, one of the largest custodians and prime infrastructure providers in the world. Left that because I wanted to build, other type of infrastructure, and ended up at Concordium, which is a very, very unique protocol that we're going to be talking about in a second.
I love it. We'll get the Concordium account on stage here in a bit. So if you're not already following them, you can. And I know we've had a team member on here a few weeks back, talked a little bit about Concordium, but excited for y'all to hear it from Boris today. If we have time, if time permits, we might be open to a few Q&A at the end. Drop your questions in the chat down below. We'll do our best to get to them again if time permits. But for this, it's the first time you're hearing about Concordium. They are really, we're talking AI agents. They're doing more than just AI agents, but AI agents, they're creating content, they're making decisions, they're transacting on behalf of people and businesses. Trust becomes the next major infrastructure challenge. And while there's registries now, Ethereum's, was early to that. There's what happens if someone goes wrong, right? Today we're going to talk about and explore, how organizations such as World Network and Google, Visa, MasterCard, regulators, and Concordium are solving different parts of this AI trust problem. Boris will share a little bit from Concordium's perspective and specifically on accountability and why accountability is becoming essential for agentic commerce, how developers on Ethereum and Solana and more can access that trust layer without migrating chains. And I think it's all a really big deal. I'm not saying we're the only ones talking about it, but as you see so many AI conversations and all the cool stuff they can do, one of the things that I really do feel is lacking is, okay, what happens if something goes wrong? If someone, you talk about, you tell an agent to book a flight and you're thinking like a $300 flight. Next thing you know, it books a $3,000 flight. Who's accountable for that? Who do you go back to? How do you get some support or reconcile that? And this idea of trust in the agentic world, seemingly to me, is it fair to say should be probably a foundational layer, something that maybe these big brands and businesses pushing out all this AI stuff might have been like step one, as opposed to, and it's great that Concordium's helping fill this gap today, but am I wrong in thinking like maybe this should have been, one of the first things we launched when we're letting these agents transact and do so much on behalf of humans and businesses?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's like, if I take a couple of minutes, because like sometimes I'm a little bit easier if I kind of go through it, because he said a couple of things there that are absolutely the core reason of why we exist. I mean, look, nowadays, agents actually have already overtaken humans in internet activity, which I think a lot of people don't even know. I mean, they're not just browsing anymore. They're transacting, deciding, and acting on our behalf. But for the first time in history, really, something is acting that is neither a person or a corporation. So our entire accountability system was basically built on those two categories, and neither of them apply right now. So every prior wave of technology gave us time to kind of build guardrails before it scaled. This one is completely different. This one doesn't. The agentic economy, which a lot of people are like, it's quite easy to throw this name around, is compounding much faster than actually initially anticipated. And the infrastructure meant to make it safe is, kind of missing. So without identity, in the simplest form, autonomous action is just becoming a risk to what you basically said, right? It will kind of kill it in its infancy. We kind of need to think about regulation on all fronts. I remember starting in crypto, regulation was way out. And now suddenly everybody is like flying on the Clarity Act and what's happening with MiCA and et cetera, et cetera. Look what happened last week. Like everywhere, like exchanges had to leave the Europe specifically. But, you basically, the way that I would like to kind of phrase it is that you kind of have to ask the self-driving car question, but at internet speed and internet scale. Meaning that when an agent gets it wrong, like you basically said earlier, who's answering for it? Mm-hmm. The person who built it or the one who deployed it? Like, where is this line? And we're shipping millions of economic actors, agents for a better word, onto the internet without with wallets, decision-making power, and most of them have no accountable human or business standing behind them. So like me looking into this, or for us as a business looking into this, this is like, it's terrifying me, and anybody that is looking into this and is paying attention to this, it should be terrifying them too. So what very quickly becomes apparent is that there is a missing puzzle piece. Like the identity part was never really the hard bit. The accountability piece is. Mm-hmm. So proving that an agent exists is not the same as knowing who stands behind it, basically. That gap is the whole ball game. That's what it basically boiling down to. So the agentic economy, I actually put this out in the post a couple of months ago, is like, it doesn't need more intelligence, right? Every new model that drops, like look what happened with Fable, right? Every model that drops ships smarter than the last one. Like it's better, it's faster, it's doing this, and now you can hook this up, and it learns this much faster, and it can code this much faster. What it's never had is accountability, and that's the piece that nobody built. Which is also like when you think of like what happened with Fable 5 and like shutting it down for the world, was a major piece of news for me personally. But we can kind of talk about this separately. I mean, to what you said also, to kind of, keep that thought going. And you can stop me, but I'm currently just want to download some knowledge.
That's great.
But,
keep cooking.
You kind of have, standards like ERC 8004, right? That tell you that an agent is consistent. That's all that it does. Basically, it's the same one that you interacted with yesterday is the one that you talk to today. Mm-hmm. That's basically it. What it can't tell you of who is responsible when it isn't doing the right thing. An agent registry tells you what's acting. An accountability layer tells you who to hold responsible. Those are two completely different products, and the industry built the first one and basically called it done, or a lot of people kind of think it's done. In our opinion, it's absolutely not. And the conversation that we have with the huge stuff that is around the corner, if only the market would start to, recover a little bit.
Do you think AI trust is becoming an industry-wide priority? Are others?
Yes, of course, it has to be.
Okay, so it's not just Concordium sees this. Everyone, hey, we kind of missed the step here. We missed a key part.
Yes, the only thing that you can't fit it retrospectively.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, if you go to our homepage, it's basically one protocol for both, for humans and agents. It lives on the same infrastructural layer. It's not a built-on, tool that you kind of use afterwards. So, to your point of why is this important? Like we have loads of conversations, amazing conversations. I'd love to say more. For example, in the healthcare world, right? It's a scenario that I really like to use. An AI agent, and there are various businesses that are trying to do this right now, with access to patient records, for example, can read it, can understand it, hooks things up, and then basically recommends a treatment. But what happens is that the patient, is harmed in whichever shape or form. So now the investigation begins, right? Mm. The agent exists, yes. The wallet exists, absolutely. The transaction history exists, but the responsible human or business doesn't. Now that's the gap. We got comfortable, for some fucked up reason, we got comfortable with handing over data from 20 plus years of the application layer internet. Now we're about to hand agent the keys to our money and our decisions. Bolting accountability on after the fact isn't cutting it here. So do you see what the problem statement is? So if we kind of tie it back to Concordium, and what we are doing is, which was like when you think of like the cypherpunks and the ones that are the hardcore crypto army. We've been in the identity game since the beginning, over 5 years. Nobody wanted to piss on us, even if we would have been on fire, right? Because it would have been completely the opposite of what the entire industry was actually building. Mm-hmm. But we built the identity piece and the accountability layer, and we build it into the protocol. And that's the difference. Ethereum can't do this. Solana can't do. None of them will be able to do this. So as it stands today, Concordium is the only place where verified humans and businesses and verified AI agents live on the same identity layer. Mm-hmm. Not stapled together after the launch, but built into the protocol from day one. Then we take it a level further, where we use zero knowledge proofs to confirm a real or verified human or business authorized this specific agent without ever exposing the privacy preserving nature of it. And the accountability doesn't require exposure. It requires traceability. So a stolen key can hijack an agent, right? Mm-hmm. It can't steal the identity behind it. That's the difference between securing a key and securing a person. And it's the difference between an app layer patch that you basically create in order to solve for a specific problem and the protocol level trust. Mm-hmm. So if you want to compare it, basically, the verified by Concordium badge that is available, and we've, go to our agent registry, you'll see, I don't know, between like 700 or 800 or 1,000 agents that are already registered. The difference is that, what can I compare it with? It's basically HTTPS, right? That it's the HTTPS moment for agents of what we've built. It won't stop every mistake, it can't, but it guarantees that when something goes wrong, there is a real human behind it who says, that's on me, that's my agent, right? So we built the agent registry to work wherever agents are already live, by the way. So it is interoperable with Ethereum, with Solana, what we have right now, Fetch, I think soon to be near as well. And not just Web3, also Web2 based agents, which is a very fast growing, if you think of enterprise adoption, they don't deploy agents on Solana or Ethereum. They deploy it in a Web2 where like Google and all those guys are coming in.
Is that?
And yeah, go on.
Real quick on the Web2 side, are most of them like internal, like inside of the enterprise, inside the business itself, or are there Web2 agents that are consumer facing that aren't on chain?
There are some consumer facing, but when I say Web 2, you know, they're deployed in the cloud by, you know, you've got your metadata in the form of the agent card, and it basically just lives in, you know, in a Web 2 world instead of a Web 3 world. Like that's the difference. But what the agent actually does is still pegged to the models that underpin it, right? So what we've done is we basically cover both worlds. So it's basically we'll add the accountability layer your agent is missing wherever it runs. So every enterprise, if you think of it that way, adopting agents, and you know, let me basically rephrase it. Every enterprise adopting agents is an accountable entity by law, right?
Yep.
You have incorporation documents, you've got directors, you've got all this jazz, and that's what the system is being built for. Like, I'm a director in companies. If I put my signature on something, I'm responsible.
Yep.
Right? So the moment an agent negotiates a contract or moves treasury funds or whatever, someone has to be able to say, I own that decision. We built the infrastructure that makes that provable. Nobody else has. Just unfortunately, the world hasn't fucking understood it yet. So this isn't about slowing agents down, because then you kind of, you know, I had a lot of those conversations here, but now I have to do this extra step. It's like, no. It's all about having built it and giving it the guardrails in order to let them run at full speed without anyone ending up, to your example earlier, on a first-class ticket to the Bahamas, even though they booked a plane to Amsterdam. Do you see what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
So the agentic economy, and that's I think the important part, specifically if you think of enterprises, because this number is being thrown around, and if you look at the numbers, the money that is currently being pumped into AI in the widest sense, you know, the agentic economy is projected to hit around 30 trillion by 2030. Nobody and nothing scales a 30 trillion economy on anonymous actors. Trust is the infrastructure, and the infrastructure is basically what we built.
I don't want to go back to it, but it's stuck in my head since you said it, and I haven't yet thought of this analogy. And it may you probably, it's like aha, you know, obvious to you, but just the idea of like the analogy of AI agents and trust compared to like a self-driving car. Like I drive a Tesla, I love it. I probably trust it too much. Like I get in the car and I don't think about driving. Like I feel safer with the robot driving me than I can drive myself, and got a pretty decent track record driving a car. But it's just better. It can think faster. It processes faster. It's got more eyeballs. There's no blind spots. It's just, I've seen it do things like in the dark, and a rabbit runs across the road and it stopped, and it takes me a fraction of a second to realize why it's even stopping, because I don't see it as fast. And you use that analogy, and it's like, I feel very safe and comfortable. I'm fully trusting my car to drive itself because I know who's accountable for it. I know that it is Tesla. I know that they have millions of miles on the road that they've proven that they are safe. Like data supports it. Whereas if you say, "Oh, I can go buy this,"
there are still things going wrong though. And if they don't, and if they do, you know exactly who to call.
Exactly. I think that's part of that trust I really haven't thought about. It's like, I know who to call. If something does go wrong, I know who's accountable. Whereas if I could go buy a car that has all the same specs, it's just made by some startup I don't know who's actually built the modeling for it, or I don't know who's actually responsible, who's the enterprise behind the car, even if it's like half the price and it goes just as fast, it allegedly drives just as safe. But if it gets in an accident, I don't know who's accountable. I'm not going to drive that car, right? It's just like, and this may seem like, oh, we're not, that might be life and death where, an AI agent interacting for you on the internet. But from a financial standpoint, the market is just as big, if not larger. Like you talk about $30 trillion, that's massive. And you're right. Like it's just to think that that's going to happen with anonymity to like, it's not like an anonymous world is not going to get us there. Like it seems like hearing you say it, and then me thinking through the self-driving car analogy, it's like, this is such a no-brainer. Every time I talk to you guys, it kind of blows me away that more people aren't talking about this, because it does seem like it's a non-negotiable. Like trust in the AI agent world it has to happen to achieve those numbers that everyone is almost unanimously agreeing, like it's going to happen. The train has left the station, but will it happen if there's not this trust layer?
Correct. I mean, and the difference is it's basically both ways. So let's take another example, right? So here in the UK, we've got Deliveroo, like whatever you guys have over there, DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever. If I give my agent the ability in order to pay for things, because now money is involved, right? First of all, I want to make sure that if he pings me, and I've got agents deployed all over the shop here, and he pings me and basically says, "Hey, it's Friday. You would like to order a pizza, you fat fuck," right? Which would be the normal response, the way that I prompted it. But it's like, it's Friday and you want a beer, right? Suddenly now you're in a regulated industry, because if you order alcohol, you need to prove that you're over 18, right? So, however, even more important is the way that I deployed it is like, you are ought to, if you order food from XYZ, make sure that you order it from, because I gave you access to my money. So make sure that you actually order it from Deliveroo and the money doesn't go to Jamal in Bangladesh, right? The way that all the registries and everything that exists these days, it basically just tells you, because you can just hook up any URL. You can say that you are Amazon, right? You just put the URL in and that's what you verify. That's what you register on those various agent registries that are currently in existence. The difference is if you hook it up to somebody that is accountable on the back, like that's the puzzle piece that's missing. And it goes both ways, because me going like, make sure that you pay the right person, the other side will know like, please make sure that that person is over 18. Please make sure that person is in a place where we can actually deliver to. Right? So not that we push an order through for 5,000 pizzas and then that guy just wanted to kind of a very Web 2 way of DDoS attacking the pizzeria, right? So that's really what it comes down to. And that layer is like, loads of people are not like, they're not talking about the right thing. If you speak to the big enterprises like we do on a daily basis, they go like, well, I'm not letting this anywhere near external interaction if I do not have that accountability layer. I can't, because then I've got a regulator, I've got a share price. If somebody needs to be held accountable. So how do we do this? We can have like, an Excel sheet that says agent 123 belongs to Pete, right? But that's not going to do the trick either, because what the technology can do is far more complex than if you think in your analog shitty world, right? So that needs a solution. And again, we're the only ones right now that can do this.
Is this so?
Wake up, people! Wake up!
Wake up! I know you've launched on Ethereum, Solana. Is this are today's trust initiatives? Are they becoming complementary? Are other builders, whether chains or enterprises, do they view Concordium as hey, this is complementary, we need to be working with this guys, or are they viewing you as like a competing entity? How's the landscape?
Yeah, we build it in a way where we don't want to look. If you're an absolute fan of Solidity, right, stay there. Like, I don't give a shit. You will sooner or later realize that it maybe is not the best shit since sliced bread, but like that's down to everybody's own decision making, right? But the reason why we built the stuff that we built last year is also in order to cover the entire payments flow, which is again, there is some huge stuff brewing, and if the market wouldn't be shit for a project like ours, we need to pick the time perfectly in order to kind of announce certain things. So I'm every interaction that we have absolutely rubber stamps, and also that is cross ecosystem, right? So what I'm to the Ethereums and Solanas and like everybody else out there, we're not a invasive species that is going to try to eradicate you. Absolutely not. Keep doing what you're doing. But since the regulatory framework, wherever we look, is tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening, this is something that you cannot build on that level. Just use it. Just use us as that accountability and trust layer. Please continue to build, ship, do whatever, pay, whatever you want to do over there, right? But then there are specific use cases that are if you think of e-commerce, if you think of healthcare, if you think of financial services, where having the entire payment stack makes sense to do this on Concordium fully or partially. It doesn't really matter. The whole idea is that it's supposed to be interoperable anyway, right? But for some reason, I remember the time 10 years ago when everybody was helping each other. Now everybody goes like, "Fuck off! This is mine." It's crazy.
You've been
So,
around that space longer than me, but I'm old enough to remember like interoperability used to be like part of the benefit of blockchain technology. It's why people are keen on change. It changes the game, but yet so many, not all, but it does seem to be so many of like they want to build their walled garden and like, no, we're not playing nice with anyone else. This is our thing, and we're gonna do everything that you're doing and then some. And it's like you're wasting.
Yeah, I mean this is where we can talk about, you know, the crypto industry macro wise. But like I think we even had a call about this some months ago. You know my feelings about it. I think as an industry we have failed horribly, abysmally, to build actually stuff that is usable. Which is why you now have, you know, all those things. Everybody sits there is like, well, I might actually need to build my own chain. Why? If Ethereum and Solana is so fucking great, why the hell don't you just use this? It's for free. Yep. Because it just doesn't cut the mustard. It's just not there in order to service an industry at scale in a regulated way. That's just because from its core setup, just to the point that we made earlier, privacy is a completely different thing than anonymity, and I made that point a lot of times, right? Anonymity is not the same as privacy. And if you have to be compliant, and you also should be compliant, because quite frankly, I've got zero interest of trading some shit with, you know, Kim Jong-un or some wankers over in Iran. Like I've got no interest there, right? So I want to make sure that I trade with the right people. So, and every single law that exists, if you think of the US securities laws, it's supposed to be, you know, there is a gate, and you either comply with it or you're not in. It's as simple as. And the crazy belief, and look, we're a little bit too far down the rabbit hole now. Because if you ask me, I wish that they would do this with Clarity, like the cypherpunk in me. Like, forget Clarity. Forget me, like, we don't give a shit about the regs. We're just going to build the next economy. Deep down, that's the cypherpunk in me. If I would like to see, and there is also a big distinction between the technological layer, as in like blockchain, and the application that is crypto, there is a major difference. I would like to see the underlying technology to be implemented, which is basically what we've done at Concordium. You know, we kind of stepped away from, you know, all this meme coin bullshit. We talked about this the last time, right? That's solved. Let them solve it. We need to be able to abstract away the complexities. Is one of my favorite phrases that I'm using over and over since years. The blockchain is there to be used. It's not there to be understood. Everybody tries to fucking understand it. But you do not ask the question if you understand what the payments flow is once you buy your coffee at Starbucks, because you do not understand what happens behind the scenes. You just use it. Like that's what it comes down to.
No one's asking the ISP provider, the cloud server, like no one cares. They just
who's the PSP, where, like, who pays what along the value chain. Like nobody gives a damn. I want my coffee, and I only had to do beep. Like that's all that matters. So. In a nutshell, this is where crypto went wrong, and where everybody is now. Why, you know, the big ecosystems, why are they down? Look, you know, why are they down 85-90% from its all-time high? Well, I also don't think they will come back to those levels, because the pure speculators, that different forces are at play now, right? So, which also means you need a different kind of blockchain or different kind of infrastructure that is going to take it to the next realm. A lot of cool stuff was built, right? The idea of NFTs, awesome. The idea of DeFi, brilliant. The idea of like whatever it is, right? Tokenization, cool. But I remember during my copper days, there were people sitting there going like, hey, yeah, I'm thinking of tokenizing a Picasso and then selling. I was like, why the fuck would you do that at the current state? Like, it doesn't have any liquidity in its traditional state. Why do you think liquidity will magically appear in its tokenized form? So this is where, you know, the thinking was wrong, but it's cool innovators that basically were sitting there and going like, what do we need to build? Like, that's where real innovation happened. Now, the application is a different thing, but like in terms of the tooling, our industry is completely and utterly fucked up. And this is where, you know, Concordium is built different. It's just like getting the people that were, you know, still licking their wounds of having lost 99.9% on their, you know, cryptos or CryptoPunk or Ape that they bought in 2021, and will never get away to that price again. Maybe, I don't know. To go like, okay, let me ask the right question. And the beauty about it is you've got bloody AI to solve it for you now. Everybody has a research analyst team in the palm of their hand. So all you need to do is go like, who's actually building some real stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Who's actually doing something that is unlike everything that we know from like the 2019 2018 cohort that is still now ruling CoinMarketCap? Who's actually building something that is useful down the line? Because out of that, you can have completely new businesses that are going to be built. Because right now, for you to kind of go through, yes, you can use OpenClaw or Hermes or Strawberry or whatever, right, in order to kind of get an agent going. But like, code up an agent. There will be, however, businesses where you can just simply use specific prompts and just assemble them like Lego, like Money Lego we did in DeFi, right? And then it's going. And then, however, by default, gives you that verifiable accountability and trust layer powered by Concordium.
Boris, you mentioned in passing, we've mentioned regulation a couple times. You threw our Clarity Act. I do want to come back to regulation here in a second. I got to pick your brain a little bit about this EU AI Act, which I believe goes into effect next month. Before we go back to regulation, though, I just want to double tap on like these businesses. I guess both businesses and individuals. Like, I'm tracking everything. Hopefully, I think it's pretty straightforward. Like how important it is for these agents to have an accountability layer, to be able to trust, to know who the agent's connected to, not just which business, but for those businesses internally, which product manager spun it up. Like, all that to me makes sense. My question is, how are businesses and or individuals, how do you think, as this plays out, as this plays forward, and let's say Concordium goes from 664 agents that are registered to 6 million, how do businesses then, how do you envision them deciding which AI agents that they can trust? Or will it be because they trust the overarching brand, the brand that launched it? Is it that simple? Do you have a different vision? I'll share this is their I'll bring up on stage here the dashboard, the AI agent or the agent registry you guys have. Do you envision businesses getting in there and searching for like keywords, or is that more of just like the back end behind the scene?
You don't. It's the back end behind it. Like that's the major difference that people do not understand yet. Of how, yeah, there it is. How many is it? 664.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can kind of see those are some Concordium native ones. If you go to the external ones there, 240. Like you click on that number, you basically see, there are some Fetch ones, Solana ones. You basically see that. But ultimately, what it comes down to is that you're now being chosen based on merit. This is, again, let's go back to the coffee example. That is literally what it's all about. If I buy coffee, if I have an agent interacting, I don't need to worry. I should not worry about, is he interacting with the right counterparty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I stand, if I put the comparison in to a certain extent, right? I can basically rock up and you kind of have those things that are on top of, cash machines that basically take your code. So it's like, if I rock up to a cash machine that is outside of a bank building, like normally I would assume that I feel comfortable putting my card in and getting some cash out, right? But it's a process. The difference is I decided. If an agent starts to decide, he is deciding and using whatever models and prompts that are at his disposal to choose the best possible path for its human or enterprise-based owner. Which means that by default, you are in an economy that is choosing based on merit. Yep. It's a big difference. Because right now, what is being chosen by is like, how much money do you spend for example, as a protocol to be headline sponsored consensus in Tokyo, right? And by that default, or you go to CoinMarketCap and you go or CoinGecko and you basically choose like, who are the biggest blockchains? And on that basis,
the biggest check.
On that basis, you trust it, just like you said earlier, right? Mm-hmm. You basically go and say, I bought a Tesla. If there is a new startup coming out, even though the car looks better and it's got all the perks and some, would you buy it? No, because you quickly go online and like Elon Musk is in your face constantly with his trillions of dollars by now. And then you go like, well, that guy obviously must be under a lot of scrutiny. The entire world knows about him. So I'd rather buy a Tesla. Like if I buy a self-driving car, I buy a Tesla. Like that's your decision-making process as a human. As an agent, completely different ballgame.
Yep.
Because you only exist to provide a service or provide decision-making based on serving an overarching purpose that is written down by an owner, right? And the fastest I can get from A to B, the cheapest I can get from A to B, whichever way this is, that's the route I'm choosing, irrespective of who spends the most money on marketing. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's ultimately what it comes down to. So in terms of, if you think of the registry, because we're taking this a step further, by the way, which we haven't actually talked about, right? The registry is kind of allowing you to register that agent and giving it that human link. But what is about to come, which you also see on our roadmap, is the agent IDP, like the agent identity provider. Because right now you only have like a human and business identity provider, which are, think of the Onfidos and all those businesses out there, right? But if I now have an agent that is supposed to, bringing it back to the ordering pizza example and ordering a beer, the agent now needs to be able to prove that he's over 18, that he's doing this on behalf of somebody that is over 18. So I need to give those verifiable credentials to the agent, which sounds easy. You would go like, well, that should be easy. Well, only on Concordium it is. Because if you now need to disjoint, you can steal the key in order to kind of prove, like if this sits in an application layer, your identity, problem. If it sits on the protocol layer and it all sits on the same layer, no problem anymore. Which means that I can now give, for example, not even my birth date, because on a zero knowledge proof basis, it just simply goes, are you over 18? Yes or no. But every single digital interaction that we have these days, which I'm sure every listener here and you self and myself has experienced, which is one of the reasons why I love Concordium, apart from many other things, is like, why would I need to send everybody a copy of my passport, a copy of my driver's license? Why would they need to know what my height is, when exactly I was born? I need to prove to you that I'm over 18.
Exactly.
And then 6 months later, I need to read, oh yeah, the database was hacked, and I don't know, 70 million national insurance numbers of customers has been leaked. Great, they pay $20 million fine, and that's about it. Which is why you now suddenly have all those GDPR rules and everything that comes with it, because you need to kind of figure out, well, take proper care of it. But even then, it goes wrong. So the idea of Concordium is that you go through this through this KYC process once, and within the ecosystem, you can interact in a privacy-preserving way going forward. That's the whole point.
That's powerful.
If I go into a football stadium, I've got zero interest in order to hold up my national insurance number and my passport for everybody visible, right? Mm-hmm. If I want to buy a beer, that's all I need to be able to do, and that's it.
You mentioned GDPR there, so I think right back to the regulation question. Like, it seems to me that whether we like it or not, that regulation is going to be influencing, the future of trusted AI and kind of how we move forward. I'm sitting in the US. I'm like tangentially familiar with this AI Act Article 50, where I believe it's to introduce transparency obligations for AI generated content in certain context, which I guess raises the question, like, I mean, is simply identifying an AI system enough? I would guess no. And this is regulation that probably plays right into what Concordium is building, no?
Yes, it does. 100%. Like, are you actually referring to the EU AI Act right now?
Yeah, the EU AI Act Article 50. I saw it's supposed to begin deploying in August.
Yeah, I don't have the Article 50 in front of me, but like, do you think your listeners know what the EU AI Act basically is?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Do you mind like giving us the TLDR?
I mean, in very short, what it basically does is it's sorting systems, AI systems, or it's regulating the way that you have to look at an AI system in whichever shape or form. It could be a model, it could be an agentic workflow, whatever it is, in specific risk tiers. So, for example, what's banned, like if you think of social scoring, market manipulation, for example, high risk. I think I can't remember what's in there. Think of law enforcement and stuff like this, and like heavy compliance requirements. Think of if I have a chatbot, if I have a chat agent that basically interacts on behalf of HSBC, right, or a bank, like there are certain regulatory frameworks of like what can it say, what can it not say, how can it interact, who can it interact with, etc., etc. So what is the disclosure? How do you handle the data? And then minimal risk, which you don't have any extra rules really, which can be anything from, I don't know, using an agentic or using a model in order to do research, for example, right? So it basically covers general purpose AI models like any LLM out there. And subsequently, if you think of it that way, applies those rule sets to any company selling AI or AI-based content or services in the EU. And then there are fines in there as well, which I don't know of how they're being covered. I think right now they're really just like focusing on the big boys, like Anthropic and OpenAI and those guys. And I think there is some fine about the amount of revenue of global revenue that they take, maybe 5% or something. I can't remember. And that's so it basically already. But that's not really the important point of the existence of why Concordium is there. The important point of the existence of Concordium is if you are running a business in a regulated area, you need to adhere to the compliance rules one way or the other.
Exactly.
So I can't just rock up to a bank and say like I would like an account, and they go like, well, you've got a nice face, here is it. It's like, no, that's not how it works. I will have to show them, what the blood group of my deceased grandmother was, right? So those are the problems that you are faced with. What you try to kind of figure out then is, if you think of like if we stay in Europe for a second, EIDAS and EUID, where people are actively building, including us, on making identity portable, meaning that you basically can live in the world where I can just scan a QR code at Barclays Bank and my account is open within a split second. Like that, basically, because I've done the same with HSBC already. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Because one of the reasons why I'm still with HSBC, I'm not going to slang HSBC right now, but I wouldn't call myself a fan, is it's an absolute pain in the ass in order to move to another bank.
Yeah.
If I have, but now I take it to the next layer and I can basically give my agent the prompt to go like, mate, sort this out for me, please.
It seems like such an obvious endpoint to get to from banking. You mentioned healthcare, like blows my mind how I can go to the same doctor twice and still have to fill out 17 forms just to check in. It's like you have to have all my information. Are you just shredding it? Are you not saving it anywhere? And then
I tell you something.
To a new doctor.
I tell you something right now, because I live such a healthy lifestyle. I wanted to renew or basically stack up or increase my life coverage support, policy for my wife and my children, right? The NHS here, which for some reason the Brits are very proud of that institution, absolute nightmare. I asked for my medical records. Guess how long this took? 4.5 months. Meanwhile, the what's his face, the insurance broker is fucking pinging me from time to time. I was like, where is it? It's like, stop asking me. Like, this is so. There are ways for us in order to make our life so much easier, so much more efficient, so much better. And what I always liked, actually, my business partner Dimitri at the time, who I started Copper with, he basically phrased it, which is nice, which is the place where we didn't end up, unfortunately, or at least yet, is that this technology layer, never mind the AI sprinkled on top of it, enables us in order to have a completely new fabric, a new cloth from which we can basically weave completely new products that up until now have not been possible due to the shitty, old school, antiquated infrastructure that everything is running on. And that's the missing puzzle piece, right? Which is why I also kind of like to abstract away from like pure crypto to what actually matters, which is the underlying technology.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the crypto space. I love blockchain technology. At the same time, like hearing like this conversation, every time I hear what Concordium's building, it's like this is a great example of blockchain tech and crypto solving real world problems. Like our medical records may not be exciting. It may not be sexy. It's not going to be the next $100 million runner, but it's like, we've all felt that pain. If you've been to if you've ever switched doctors, like you've felt, and it's like, hey, I'll take an extra 20 minutes out of my life, but why? Like it shouldn't be that hard. And while solving for AI agent accountability certainly helps with transacting on chain, I think there's so many more layers to where I do believe this Concordium, and it has to impact almost every area of life if it's going to get to a $30 trillion industry, be it AI agents. It's just, this is something that far beyond our crypto bubble. This is really
it's going to dwarf it.
How we interact, right? It's like it's our society today. And
well, I mean, the difference is also there was no real motivation to change things.
True.
Because people were like standing there and they go like, yeah, why does Bank of America not adopt this for this? It's like, because nobody came with a solution that actually allowed Brian Moynihan or whoever is there now as the CEO to sack 60% of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason, like you can continue to do the things that you're doing right now. Everything was geared towards like trading faster. I've got like my data center right next to the NYSE. Like this was like in my copper days. Like I was like, that was the whole discussion. It was like, but why are you not using this for everything?
Yeah.
It's like, because nobody gave us the tools. The difference now is that AI kind of allows you to, and also due to the scalability of it, allows you to change workflows that have been the norm up until now, but also require by default a different set of underlying technology to run it on. Now, I'm not saying so. The stage is different now. Where we were walking around trying to flog people to buy Bitcoin or get an ETF out, like that's Mickey Mouse in comparison to what now is at stake. So, because the question always comes like, well, is AI is that the use case that actually makes crypto worthwhile? Well, to a certain extent, but it's not going to be the driving factor for stablecoin movements to go through the roof,
right.
Just because an AI agent doesn't have a face and doesn't have a bank account. Revolut's going to solve for this, or any other neobank, and subsequently even the old boring ass whales on Wall Street are going to solve for this too. But what it ultimately comes down to is that I now have an incentive to use a different layer of technology, because I can stand in front of my shareholders and basically say, if I use this, I can reduce our cost base, which means shareholder value goes up.
Yep.
And then they will take the decision, because you were always like at the merit of those gray-haired wankers in a boardroom that were like 3 years away from their retirement, and they're not going to take a risk. They will continue to contract IBM in order.
Fine. Exactly. Like there's
obviously
no incentive for them to change things. Like they don't.
And there is.
If it
Correct.
takes 20 minutes to fill out our paperwork, it's CYA for them. They're just protecting their downside risk.
What is it? What is that saying? Yeah. What is that saying? You won't get fired for hiring IBM.
Exactly.
Like that's a fact, right? So you might as well continue with that bullshit and go like, well, I'll wash my hands clean. But if the pressure now mounts to the extent of like saying, well, I can reduce my workforce by 60%. Okay, and there's like, how are we doing this? Well, we need to implement this technology, that rail, that database. We need to do that. Okay, what else can we do? It's like, well, we can in theory do payments. So now suddenly you then at the consumer level, where you can rock up to not to Steve Jobs, nobody rocks up to him right now, but to Jeff Bezos, and you basically go, how many people are working in your finance department? Well, have you heard of crypto at the time? Yeah. What do you know about the promise of programmable money? It's like, okay, so your entire supply chain can be programmed into the stable coin, meaning that every single time one package is being handed over to one driver to the other and he scans it, a certain percentage that you said is automatically instantly appearing in this guy's wallet. So now you tell me that you would maybe want to get into this digital age, because right now there was no incentive. So let go of 5,000 finance people that are sitting there sending money from A to B or from B to A because the package didn't arrive and I need to refund, right? You don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
So shareholder value goes up. Customers most likely will spend more. There's a completely new way of doing marketing. This is just one example, right?
I mean,
and that's what was missing for crypto.
It's win-win, right? This future, it makes
Completely.
sense for the business. It makes
But
sense
that's the
for
only
user
thing.
experience.
But that's the only, that is the only thing that is going to,
They
Sorry.
need to. No, you're good. This is like it really. I'm not just saying it because you're on stage with us here. It really is opening my eyes up to what AI is disrupting is more than just the tech side, right? It's
Completely.
oftentimes our flow, our customer journey, how we interact in life. It's providing new, better ways that now these businesses, these shareholders, they have an incentive to make the change into new tech because it's going to reduce their bottom line. But to do so, as these agents begin to act autonomously and handle real value and make real decisions and access, KYC type information, these organizations need to answer who deployed this agent, who authorized this agent, who's accountable if something goes wrong, and can accountability be verified without compromising privacy. Like that's stuff that I don't think any of us are thinking about. But all four of those things, like all these businesses have to answer. That's like if not Concordium, they're going to have to find a solution like it, right?
And as it stands right now, Concordium is the only one that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people don't know it. Because also it's not a sexy topic. It kind of got a little bit more sexy, the whole topic of identity, when AI was introduced, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like at the end of the day, like who the fuck wants to talk about KYC? Like nobody, including myself. But the matter of the fact is that nothing will work without it. Because with every single business, and in the last couple of weeks, I spoke to the biggest businesses on the planet. None of them is saying, it's just like on the trading side, right? If I go back to, when we talk about pure crypto, if you rock up in Canary Wharf or in New York, I was on all those in all those boardrooms and everywhere, and you always have like a couple of traders sitting there. They're like a racehorse in a gate. They go like, yeah, let's fucking go. I really want to trade this stuff. But they're not deciding. Is the chief risk and the chief compliance officer basically goes, well, how does this work? Where's the risk? How is this? Like, if this happens, what happens then? Like the front office people, they're like, let me off the leash, but they're not the ones deciding. This is where innovation goes to die, right? So now that's where the difference is, which is, asking the question of like, is AI the saving grace for crypto? Yes or no, is the wrong question. Is AI the catalyst or the incentive to make people rethink the existing infrastructure that they're operating on? That's the right question.
Yep.
And that only works if you basically solve, because the regulation is not going to go away. The regulation is going to get tighter, peeps. Like that is the sad bit. And once we kind of once you then really innovate, because the system that we operate in right now is fucking old and very boring, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, right? But once you can kind of prove, oh yeah, we can do things like this, you can also get a regulator to learn of how to read a node, because that's all it needs. It's as simple as the amount of time I spent with the FCA and the SEC, BaFin, MAS, FMR, like all those regulators, they go like, this is a saving grace. Why are you guys so against it?
Yep.
It is a saving grace. Forget your SaaS reports. Like every single day, how many SaaS reports are getting sent? The FCI, I actually forgot the number, but it's like 15,000 per day. Oh, this was a suspicious activity. Do you think anybody is ever looking at this shit? No. So how about having real-time analytics giving you of like what's happening in the market? But you need to gate of like who's in it, entrance identity. If it's not a human anymore or a business, but actually an agent acting, who gives you that? Auditability, etc., or just simply the peace of mind that it's not Kim Jong-un or whoever the successor of fucking Osama bin Laden is, right? That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
And as it stands right now, we're the only infrastructure in the world that can give you this. WorldCoin doing some cool shit when it comes to personhood, right? Iris scans, great. Yeah. Businesses, because that's going to be the enterprise part, is going to be the thing that is ultimately being pushed. You can have a business or an individual scanning their iris, great. But if Amazon wants to implement something, like how the hell are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's a different layer, and Transconcordium, and like it's endless, and which is why I say the beauty about it is now also, like when we think of Concordium as a project, you have this research team of 100,000 analysts in the palm of your hand. This whole thing on every single post that I see, DYOR, yes, now you can do it. If people said, like, do your own research, they only listen to what their neighbor said. But now you can actually ask the question. But generally the people are fucking lazy, so they don't really take the extra step of thinking beyond. Do you see what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Sorry to piss a couple of people off, but yeah.
It's fair. It's, you know, it's, we talked, I opened it up earlier. It's like, this seemed like such a foundational layer that's so important. Like, why wasn't it here first? And it's almost like a, not exactly, but almost like a chicken and egg type scenario where we almost needed this AI boom and LLMs to have the success they've had and agents to start running wild for the enterprises, for the decision makers to take it serious, because it's, you know, the reality is, like, trust, accountability, it may not be the most exciting or sexiest thing in the world, but it's critically important. And now they have those incentives to justify taking it serious. And if they're going to move forward with bringing in agents throughout their ecosystems, they got to be able to be accountable. They got to be able to know who authorized it, who deployed it, who's accountable if something goes wrong. I think it's just it seems so obvious as we talk through this that
I know.
Like, I really like it really, not just blowing smoke, but like to push the space forward, not just crypto and blockchain tech, but to realize, I think, the vision that many people have as it relates to AI and AI agents and how it's going to change the world. Like, this is such a key element. This is such a key piece to it that I don't know if we get there without leaders like yourself and Concordium building this trust layer, this trust infrastructure out, because otherwise we hit a roadblock. These businesses just aren't going to move forward if they can't connect those dots that you all are helping connect.
We're basically at the same point where we were with Bitcoin adoption years ago. It's like, and you ask this, and people ask us the question of, why is it not like, look at the performance and look at this and look at that? And it's like, yeah, volatile, but like that can be managed. It's like, because the incentive and the regulatory framework didn't allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as. And yes, it's not the sexiest topic, but like, it doesn't matter of which way you skin the cat. Everybody, every single human being and every single business is underlying that system.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why you have a passport. Like, you can now ask the question, like, why do I have a passport? Right? Why do you have a passport? What's it for? What is your identity?
Proof who I am, right?
Yeah, but like, what is your identity?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? You is you, right? Why do I need to have a little booklet where somebody puts a stamp in it? Like, what's the point of it? So it's like, but this is where then, you know, let's do digital
Mm-hmm.
passports and like all this kind of stuff. So there is movement, but the matter of the fact is, you cannot close your eyes to the fact that every single interaction that you have is based on the fact of you being able to access a service. And I always like to kind of use that example because I am a smoker. I remember the days when you had to go, and I think some of those machines still exist, where you had to put a bank card in to prove that you're over 18. Because if you're not over 18, you don't have a bank card, because the bank says you can't have one. Okay, you can take it out of the purse of your daddy and do it. Guilty, right? But it's like, at the end of the day, so you need to solve for that problem too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why this set of regulation is so tight. If you take it in a way and you simplify it to the extent of taking it onto one protocol and then add the agentic piece on top of it, that build you can only do from the outset. And there will be new chains. Like I said this the last time, I don't want to wish any harm on Anatoly or Vitalik or you know, all those guys that are there. Charles, even though that guy is like losing his marbles constantly from one side to the other, but incredibly smart. But it's like, will those be the chains that are going to be the ones that are ultimately make the world adopt it? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And unfortunately, things like KYC, AML, identity, specifically if you talk about agents doing millions of things on a daily basis, billions of things on a daily basis, you cannot disregard it. And if you would like to see a world like this, you need an infrastructure like Concordium. It's as simple as.
Yep.
Like Concordium or Concordium. Like, I'm still yet to see one that has built something like us. Live in production, ready to use.
I wholeheartedly agree. And yes, today there's EU regulation coming. You mentioned Clarity Act in the States. It's inevitable. At some point, it's global. Like, you may live in a region that there's no AI regulation. You can go wild today. It's only a matter of time before the regulators come in and require. I mean, first of all, it seems like common sense. Like, the consumer, the enterprises certainly want to know who's building these agents. The consumer certainly would want to know who deployed it, who authorized it, who's accountable if something goes wrong. Even though that just makes sense, I still think it's going to be, at some point, regulators are going to come in and it's going to be a hard requirement. So for those that are building in the agentic world, like, it just would make sense, and my opinion, to get ahead of it, get that Concordium badge today, register the agent, and it just builds a better agentic landscape. Boris, I apologize. We kept you a little long today. Really enjoyed the conversation as always. Appreciate all that you are building. Is there anything we didn't touch on today? Did you have any final words, closing thoughts, anything you wanted to share with the audience that we didn't yet hit on?
No, again, do your own research, because these days you can, and keep your eyes peeled, because there's some big shit around the corner, which is, when we talk about real world adoption, that's what it comes down to. So yeah, I'm I'm very excited. And yeah, in many ways, what an opportunity right now, also where we are with the market.
What a time. Yeah, what a time to be live. It really is exciting. And Concordium's doing more than just this player. I mean, like, what you're doing with the Danish hockey team. Like, I think there's you probably have a viable business just in building a new and improved customer loyalty and customer interaction experience, like you're doing with the hockey team. Not to downplay that at all, but this agentic is a really, really big deal.
There are many ways, of how this is. For me personally, it really comes down to the fact of, like, verifying that an agent is of who he says he is, and if you equip him with money, also to abstract the risks that are currently existence in the form of smart contracts acting as custodians, etc. Which is, if you think of Concordium, there are the three core USPs: identity for both humans, businesses, and agents; PLTs, protocol level tokens, protocol level issuance, L1 issuance, not like ERC issuance, like protocol level issuance, and protocol level locks, which is basically an on-chain escrow, which you then solve for, like, longer dated transactions where you have to think more about the time value of money. Those are the three core puzzle pieces. The shit that you can do with this is mind-blowing. And the quicker builders are waking up, which they will, it's just a matter of time.
Agreed.
But, like, AI definitely is the catalyst right now, because that's a question that is coming at light speed, not in the media, but, like, in the conversations that we're having with the big boys. That's what it's all about.
It's awesome. Well, really enjoyed the conversation. We'll have to do this again. I guess in closing, just to kind of summarize for all, I think most would agree the industry is both crypto and enterprise at large entering a new phase. Building smarter AI agents is no longer enough. Like, they're going to continue to get smarter, but we have enough intelligence. It's now the next challenge. The challenge that you are solving is building AI that can be trusted from governments, AI companies, payment providers, healthcare, blockchain infrastructure, all these
individuals.
Exactly. Right. And I think Concordium's focus on accountability, bringing this verifiable trust layer to AI agents without requiring developers to leave their existing ecosystems. That's really key. The fact that you're working with Ethereum, working with Solana, like, why not would be the question. Why would you not want your agent, unless you have malicious intent? Why would you not want it verified and prove that you're the one who deployed it, or you're the organization that deployed it, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Boris, real pleasure. Appreciate your time today. Enjoyed the conversation. We'll let Boris get out of here. We do have a coffee with Captain Claw pool coming up. someone's going to pull the the silver TCG machine from BZ. But Boris, thanks again. Really enjoyed it, and thanks not just for your time, but appreciate you solving some real world problems that isn't just helping push the blockchain space forward, but I think society at large. Not to be cheesy, but it's a really big deal.
Cool, man. Thank you very much, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Hang tight. On the other side of this break, we're going to do Coffee with Captain before we get y'all out of here on your Friday morning. This is Coffee with Captain, brought to you by BZ. Maybe. There we go.
Coffee with Captain. Give that claw a spin. Raw to grills from BC. Prizes within. Mystery and magic. Where to begin? Coffee with Captain. It's your time to win.
It is Dillo's time to win. Dillo, longtime community member, friend of the show, just a friend in general, one of the great ones in the space, supports us almost every single day out there with the likes, the reposts, the comments in the chat. Greatly appreciate you. Long time coming here. We're going to pull this Monkey D. Luffy for you today. You can see it on screen, the chase items. We've got this Monkey D. Luffy. It's a PSA 10 one-piece card that goes for $1,222. There's also another Monkey D. Luffy, also a Gem Mint 10 that goes for $1,067, and a few others in the $500 to $800 range. But I can feel it. This is Dillo's lucky day. He's going to pull one of those Monkey D. Luffies here in just about 30 seconds or so. Good luck. Good luck. Let's pull a grail for Dillo. I lost my music. There we go. All right. $38. It's a Destined Rivals Misty Gyarados. This is a new one for me. So the bit continues. The Gyarados for Dillo today. Dillo, let me know in the chat. Would you like to vault the Gyarados, the Gem Mint 10 Misty's Gyarados? Do you want to vault this thing, or would you like to swap for 38? It's actually after fees comes down to $35.72. So would you like the $35.72, or do you want to vault the Misty's Gyarados? Let me know in the chat, and we'll get this thing sent over to you momentarily. Congrats, well deserved, and thank you again for all that you do for the show and the space at large. One of the good ones out there. If you're not following Dillo, go do yourself a favor, give him a follow. Also, that Concordium account still on stage. Give that a follow if you've not yet given them some love. But Dillo, let me know if you want to vault this thing, or if you want the 38.72, and whichever you choose, we'll get it sent over to you here as soon as we wrap up the show. Gyarados says Payne. Diego says he would vault it. Gyarados is a beast. They love the Dilla didn't pull the Monkey D. Luffy, but per Diego, Gyarados is a beast. He says vault it. Gyarados. Diego says he's thinking about selling his Minvino to buy 3 Klanos packs. Thomas says, nice pull. Tell him Payne how it's pronounced. Come Trinity says vault it. So I don't know. No pressure. The call is yours, Dillo, whether you want to vault this thing. He says, let's vault it. Good deal. Do me a favor, shoot me either your BZ account profile or an EVM address, and I'll get this sent over to you after the show. If you don't yet have a BZ account, just swap the QR code, go hit that on the screen. That'll take you to our BZ ref link, get your BZ account set up there, and they got those raffles live again. So even if you just have a few points on BZ, go get your raffle pulls. And congrats. Yes, I would pronounce it with the G. I don't know. Gyarados. Pokemon with Cap continues. Thank you all for tuning in today. Appreciate all the love this week. Thanks for bearing with my migraine. I think I'm back to normal mostly. Well, I don't know if I'm normal. That's probably not putting it correctly, but feeling much better. And thank you all for bearing with us there on the interesting week. Short day followed by the shades yesterday, but was able to go. I was able to face the lights today, so we're back. We're back in action. It's a Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks again for all the love and the kind words. Greatly appreciate it. We've got one World Cup game today. Spain and Belgium facing off before we get 2 games tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Come next week, we're going to be down to the Final Four. So a lot. Good luck on all your drafts. Good luck on your sports betting, your prediction markets. However you're tackling the World Cup. I'm sad that it's nearing an end. I was really loving the 3-4 games a day, and I can deal with 1 and 2, but it's just we're nearing an end. So I'm already thinking about how I'm going to get into a Premier League fantasy league. That's if anyone has a good Premier League fantasy league, let me know. I was looking for best ball. I can't find Premier League best ball anywhere. I'd be firing some builds right now if I could. But if you know of Premier League best ball or even just a good Premier League fantasy league, let me know. I am actively looking for one. But yes, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. We'll be back Monday, 8 a.m. Eastern time as always. Go get that Concordium account some love. And thanks again for tuning in today and every day for that matter. And yes, once again, congrats to Dillo. Well deserved. We'll get you that Guyver dose sent over momentarily. And everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day.